Hi, and welcome to the Law Simplified. I'm Shraveen Bandadnayaka. 2020 has been a tumultuous year, not just for law students, but students in general. But moving into the new academic year and the semesters ahead, it's important to understand what we can learn from this year and how we can grow and evolve. I often quote the late Professor Randy Pausch in the notion that experience is what we get when we don't get what we want. Unfortunately for us, we got quite an experience and an insight at that when it comes to studying and sitting for assessments in this year. Having said that, however, I felt that it is apt, so to speak, to do a video for students all around the world to try and grasp what we have learned in this year in terms of the techniques to implement and adapt to the circumstances around us and how we can evolve and take it forward into the upcoming year. That being said, I feel that there are three fundamental areas that we need to learn and improve on. Firstly, in terms of studies. Secondly, in terms of assessments. And finally, in terms of subject selection. Studying in its entirety has made a pivot online. Whereas most of you might have been used to going to an institution or a university prior to the pandemic, now the norm is in fact Zoom, webinars, and online classes. This, for many of you, might be a contemporary evolution, but for some of you who prefer the physical presence in an institution or a classroom and being able to physically interact with your colleagues and other members of your cohort as well as a lecturer, it might have been quite daunting. But what we need to understand is that this is in fact the new normal, and for some time into the near future, we would have to adapt to it. That being said, it's important to understand how you can leverage on the traditional mechanisms of studying and try to take the new and more improved methods of dissemination of information as well as taking in those aspects properly. Now, if you feel overwhelmed with this whole paradigm shift into the online world, where content is almost everywhere and you don't exactly know where to begin and how to get guided help, so to speak, I would urge you to have a look at some of the links in the description below. And earlier this year, I was fortunate to be able to launch my online law school as well, which provides you with comprehensive course material, lessons based on the actual one-on-one masterclasses that I've conducted, as well as supplemental reading and qualifications on their own, having been recognized this year by ATHE for the Foundations of Contract Law. So do check out some of the links in the description. That being said, studying in general is difficult, so if you have any questions and any doubts as to what techniques to utilize, there's plenty of resources and material available on this very channel. If you just check out the different playlists that I've created, you'll be able to get a broad stroke understanding of how to start, how to progress, and then how to succeed in law. The next aspect that took quite a turn are assessments. Now, most of us, myself included, were used to assessments being held on a one-on-one basis at an examination hall in the presence of invigilators and the whole examination atmosphere, so to speak. This, however, in 2020 was not possible, and most universities either opted to convert their examinations into assignments or have a more robust system of allowing a very limited span of time allotted for students to download and then answer questions. This in turn created more problems because of issues that related to plagiarism, for example, and therefore examiners became highly scrutinous, so to speak, of the scripts that they received. This is going to be quite similar moving forward. We need to understand how best to take this opportunity on the one hand and also adjust the method that we respond to questions. Since it's not going to be a rote learning method where you go to an examination center and you have a limited period of time, Since you do have the resources and, for some of you, the advantage of not having to handwrite your answers, this provides a great opportunity to try and get and harness information that you would otherwise not be able to in a traditional examination format. So start reading up on those supplemental reading material. Go through journals, go through articles, try and formulate different perspectives and points of view that you would not have otherwise explored having been cocooned into the general examination format. The final, most forward-thinking aspect that we need to start inculcating and thinking differently, so to speak, in the upcoming year is in relation to subject selection. Now, I've often told my fast track and masterclass students that when it comes to law, your subject selection and your career at large, we have to be proactive and adapt to the circumstances around us. Ever so often, different subjects crop up that essentially feed the necessary requirement of the society, as well as many career paths emerge therein. This year and the years to come would not be any different. In fact, many subjects such as medical law, intellectual property, franchise law, and sports law have seen a resurgence, not just because of the circumstances that we've all faced this year, but because it's quite clear that, for example, technology law and any law related to technology makes far better sense moving forward, since we are living more and more on a digital scape, so to speak. So try and become open-minded when it comes to the subject selection process. I've often said that even in your first degree, to leverage on the elective modules that are provided to you by your university so as to create a niche for you in terms of your postgraduate qualifications such as an LLM and then in your later career as well. This is the best time possible to reevaluate your subject selections moving forward into 2021. Right. This video was intended to provide some context as we come to the end of 2020 and moving into the 2021 academic year. We need to understand that the way we entered this year is far different to the way we exited. And as law students and professionals in law, we need to recollect, learn from, and then evolve and adapt into better, more proficient professionals going forward. So keep in mind that as we go into the upcoming year, have a look at the techniques you've generally used and how they've changed, what subjects make better sense moving forward into a career in law, and how best to use this opportunity to excel, not just pass, but ace in your examinations and assessments. But until the next time that we speak, have fun, stay safe, and as always, obey the law.